Oh, we got a little bit of a crash out today, everybody. So if you got sensitive ears in the room, you might as well tell them to go to the next one. So YouTube, what's going on with everybody? Hope you're all having a great day. We're here on Wednesday morning, bright and early, and I got a few things that I just got to address with you all because it gets to a point with me where it builds up a little bit, and then I just gotta crash out. Just let you all know. Honestly, there's a lot of people in here that I'm pretty sure their fathers left to go get milk and never came back, so I have to pick up the slack for the gaming community and tell you the things that you may not want to hear. Now, I'm gonna do a lot of referencing to you in this video. Now, you're gonna have to think about this from the perspective of if the shoe fits, or the old expression, if a hit dog hollers. If any of the things I'm saying start to make you feel uncomfortable or like they apply to you, then it probably does apply to you, and you probably should feel uncomfortable. So with that being said, disregard it though if it does not apply to you, and pay me no mind in that sense. But nonetheless, though, the point I wanted to make is, and that I wanted to get into is, lately in the last couple of days, I've been seeing just a lot of people in the Marvel Rivals Twitter community, and I'm pretty sure it's the same exact thing with Reddit. I don't really get on Reddit like that anymore just because of how mods and stuff like that on there are, and they kind of want these one-sided echo chambers and stuff. But from what I hear in comments, a lot of times Reddit is pretty much the same exact thing. But you got a lot of people that are sitting back and they're starting to kind of awaken to the fact that the honeymoon phase of this game is over. Now, this is not exclusive to this game. This happens with any game. I've been gaming since the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo days. So I have seen gaming go from its infancy all the way up to, and yes, I'm aware that there were games before Sega Genesis and Super Nintendos before anybody even has to jump into that. Nonetheless, though, I've seen it go from that to modern day, and I've in that 30-year span, I have seen so much when it comes to gaming. And the thing that has never changed is that when something new and shiny comes out, because that's just how people are as a whole, it's new and shiny. People love it. They're fascinated by it. They don't understand all the stuff that the community hasn't had time to become overly toxic and be at each other's throats about all this different stuff. So that's where we kind of are with Marvel Rivals. It's slowly kind of phasing out of that honeymoon phase for a lot of people, and people are just starting to complain. And personally, I feel like people just have too much stuff nowadays. There's just too much access to everything. You can think about it like when I was a kid. I had a shelf that, on the bottom had comic books and stuff and regular books, and on the top shelf I had some video games. I could count on two hands how many games I had at any given time. Sometimes I have more, depending upon what was going on. But for the most part, a couple handfuls of games, and you were happy to have those because that was normal. That was a normal experience. But nowadays, people have just so much access to so much stuff. You take something like the Game Pass, for example. My children, they constantly are downloading so many games. My son will sometimes spend more time just sitting there going through games and downloading them, and won't even play half the games. He just enjoys downloading a bunch of different games. Same exact thing when they're on Steam. There's so many games that are free to play now. They just sit there, oh, I like this, oh, I like that, oh, I like this. There's just too much stuff. And when you have too much stuff, you're just not going to be happy. That happens a lot of times. And I feel like that's a big part of what's happening with games as a whole. People are just expecting to just constantly be getting these dopamine rushes of, oh, this new thing is coming out, and then I'm going to be into it for like a day and a half, and then I'm not interested anymore, and I'm going to be on to the next thing, hoping that that's going to give me, that's what addicts do. They're constantly trying to chase that high that they had initially. And you're never going to get that. Once you've gotten that initial, and this does not have to just apply to one particular thing. You can literally apply it to any aspect of your life. Why do you think divorce rates are so high? Because people find somebody and they initially like them and they go, oh yeah, I like this. This is new. This is fresh. It's interesting. They're not thinking about the fact, what about 10 years from now? Are you going to enjoy waking up to this individual? Before you smelling them, their breath before they've had a chance to brush their teeth, when they're walking around the house just wearing their house clothes, hair's not made up, no makeup on, any of that stuff. Are you going to like them when the metabolism starts to slow down? They start to get that gut, the beer belly? Are they still going to be as appealing to you then? Or at that point as they were when you initially met them? Do you genuinely like them for just them? You can, like I said, you can apply this to anything. This game that you're playing, are you just playing it because your friends are playing it? Are you just playing it because it's new? Because some content creator that you watch, they're playing it and they seem like they're having a fun time playing it? And the same thing can be said about games that other people are telling you, oh, it's a dead game. Why are you still playing that? Okay. Do you enjoy playing the game? I don't care if you're playing something from 20 years ago. Do you enjoy it? I got a buddy who streams, and he only streams things that he's interested in. He plays like WWE games from like Nintendo and stuff, like old Super Nintendo games, like whatever he's into, he streams it. I respect that and I commend it. Be your own individual. Like what you like. Stop worrying about what other people are into and what they like and what they don't like, what they think about stuff, what they don't think about stuff. And that brings me to my next topic. This community has got to be one of the most toxic communities that I've ever seen. And that's saying something. I've played some extremely toxic games. I know I've referenced this a lot, but I was there for the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. I was there for them. I know a lot of you like to say you were there for them, but when I do the math on how old most of you are, you were small children. Small children. A controller would have barely fit in your hands. So I know you're capping. I already know. And it's okay to admit that you weren't there. It's all right. It's all right. We're not going to judge you. I promise. Maybe somebody else will, but I'm not. It's all right. There's plenty of stuff I wasn't there for. I can't tell you what happened in the 70s and the 80s. Wasn't there for it. And that's okay. Listen to the stories from my parents and the older generation. But like I was saying, I was there. I saw the toxicity. And I'm telling you that this community, if that's what you want to call it, is probably 5 times more toxic. And you know why they're more toxic? Because they do this stuff to their own teammates. And I know that a lot of you don't have any experience in any type of team environment. And when I say that, I mean like team sports, teams at your job, just in life in general. You don't have any experience in it because there's absolutely no way that you would have succeeded in anything with the mindset that you all have. And I'm pretty sure a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're not sitting in somebody's face. You're sitting behind a computer screen in a dark room, and you're sitting there, oh, yeah, I'm going to be all toxic, I'm going to tell healers that GG no heals, even though they got twice as much heals as the enemy team. Yeah, I already know. But let me ask you all a question. Let me just present a question to you. What's the end goal exactly? You think about something like the healer strike and how half of you didn't want to acknowledge that it was happening. And then the other half of you thought it was hilarious. Oh, so hilarious. Yeah, we bullied healers and we're sitting here talking about the people that literally keep us alive. What exactly is the end goal here? What are you trying to accomplish? Because pretty much anything in my life that I do or don't do, there's an end goal. There's something I'm trying to accomplish. When I'm helping my son with his homework, I'm trying to help him become a better version of himself, to become smarter than his old man. So when he gets older, he can do whatever it is that he wants to do. Further himself in his education. When I go outside and I cut my grass, it's because I want my yard to look nice. Because people are going to judge you based off of that. Your yard looks crazy, your homeowners association is going to knock on your door with fines. People are going to treat you differently based off of your appearance, even the appearance of your home. The reason I'm making this video right now is because I genuinely have questions and I want to know the answer to them. There's a reason for stuff. People do things. There is no anything that anybody just does that has no logic or reason behind it. Somewhere in the back of your mind, if you ask the tough questions hard enough, there's some kind of logic or reason behind it. And it may not make sense to anybody else, but it does make sense to you at least. That's why you did it to begin with. But I ask again, what are you trying to accomplish by putting down the people whose sole purpose in the game, let's not say sole purpose, but like 98.9% of their purpose is to keep you alive? What in the hell are you trying to accomplish? When you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to jump on Twitter, I'm going to jump on Reddit and put down the people that are just on my team trying to play the game just like I am and predominantly keep me alive. What are you getting out of that? What do you think's gonna come of that? Let me paint a scenario for you. Let's say you actually do piss off all the healers to the point to where they actually leave the game. They actually just stop playing the game. You didn't want to heal. That's why you're not a healer. Now, something I noticed when this healer strike was going on, I noticed all of a sudden there was a lot of people that would pick heals or support, whatever you want to call it. They would pick the support role, but they could go a whole 20-minute round and maybe pull together 5-6K of healing over the span of 20 minutes. And then when we would lose, they want to back out of the lobby really quick. They didn't want to stick around for the GG no heals part. It was fun when you were on the other side of it. But now when it's you and you're now struggling, Now you have to play a role that you didn't want to play, that somebody else picked up the slack and played because it wasn't as glorious, it didn't have as much shine to it as the other roles like DPS or tank or whatever. Because everybody has to be the main hero now. Everybody's so self-absorbed. But you want to play a team game though. Why are you not playing a solo game where you can just play? Call of Duty exists. They have this thing, this crazy concept. It's called solos. And you know what happens in solos? You just play. You don't need a support. You don't need a tank. Yet you made the conscious choice to play a team-based game, and then you had this 4,000 IQ idea, this super bright idea. You said, you know what? I'm going to start beef with my own teammates. Now, beefing with the enemy team, that I understand. People beef with the enemy team all the time. It happens all the time. Find me a player in a sport, basketball, football, whatever, where at some point in time ESPN ain't caught a clip of them sitting there beefing with somebody else, getting up in somebody else's face, probably telling them that they're trash or whatever NFL, NBA, whoever players say to each other when they're beefing with each other. It happens all the time. This is why I was making the point that this community is more toxic than Modern Warfare 2. In the old Call of Duty days, when people beefed with each other, when they were toxic, they did it to the enemy team. We waited until, if it was search and destroy, in between matches where we could all talk to each other, or at the end of the match where we could all talk to each other, whatever the case is. That's when we would start just saying stuff that nowadays is considered to be just, it would be considered crimes in most places. But the point that I'm making is that I just don't understand. I don't understand the logic and the reason behind it. And are support players perfect? No. They feed into this stuff too. And everybody wants to make it this tribalistic thing where you're on one side or you're on the other side. And you got flex players like me who just sit back and I go, bro, I'm just trying to win. I just want to play whatever role that's needed. Who cares about all this stuff? Who cares what some content creator who sleeps in a twin-size bed, who cares what he says? So much animosity toward your own people. They're on your team. What do you think, that putting them down, raging on them and stuff is somehow going to make them play better? That they're going to be like, oh, this guy just yelled at me and just called me all types of names. I'm now going to spend the rest of the game healing them. And then you put people down and then you want to say, oh, it's so sensitive. But I guarantee if I did the same exact thing to you, though, I guarantee you try to play the victim role. Guarantee it. Oh, I can't believe this guy just said something crazy to me. It's a two-way street. Works both ways. You all sat here and put healers down and support players. Told them they were boosted, told them that their role was so easy that anybody could do it. And whether you agree with that or disagree with it or not, I think we can all agree that nobody wants to be treated that way. If I sat here and just told you that your role was easy, if I blamed you for everything constantly, whether you're support, DPS, tank, whatever, eventually you're gonna get to a point where you're just like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I'm tired of this. This is pointless. Why am I loading in to sit here and not only have to go against the enemy team and fight them and combat them, but now I have to go against my own team constantly. So then they go on strike. And you know what you all said? They're crybabies. They were sensitive. And like I said, I'll present it to you one more time. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you just incapable of looking past this moment in time that you're currently in? Because that's all you have to do to look at the situation and say, hey, what are we doing here? What is the point of this? How about I try something different? This crazy concept where, I don't know, maybe you respect the people on your team and treat them the way that you would want to be treated. I know it's a really foreign concept because where we are nowadays, everybody looks up to content creators. Everybody looks up to streamers. That's what everybody's trying to do. Everybody's sitting here just walking down the street going, yo, chat, what do you think about this? There is no chat for you. You're not a streamer. You're not a content creator. No one is checking for you. You're just someone who's mimicking something that you're seeing from someone else who's probably extremely miserable in their actual life. Because, newsflash, unhappy people try to make other people unhappy. People that are happy, that lead positive, fulfilling, happy lives, they're sitting here like me, confused as hell. Why are you being this way? And like I said, I just gotta say it and gotta be honest. Do I sit here and drop a too easy in the chat every now and again, joking around? Yeah. There's a massive difference between that and what a lot of you all are doing. How a lot of you all thrive. That video that I made about Necros, where I said, hey, you know what, I was wrong. Now, a lot of people get something confused. There's no apology to be had. If you come to me and you say, hey, man, I can make a shot from half court on a basketball court, and I go, I don't think you can, and you make the shot, I can say, oh, I was wrong. That does not mean I'm apologizing. There's a big difference. Now, if I just walk up to you and trip you while you're walking, and then I go, hey, I'm sorry, that was wrong. That's something to apologize for. I've actually done something to you. But if I just doubt that you're capable of something and then you do it, there's no need for me to apologize. That's a big difference between me admitting that I was wrong versus me having to apologize for something that is actually worth apologizing for. Now, I originally said I didn't think Necros was going to be able to have that easy of a time in the support role. And I know a lot of people are like, well, he did it on a Smurf account. Okay, well, that's neither here nor there for what I'm particularly saying. I'm simply saying I thought somebody couldn't do something. They did it. I simply said, okay, I was wrong in that sense. Some of you were in the comments defending this man like he was your father or something. Like he cares about you at all. Bro, he is not concerned if you're out here defending him in videos where there's no need to defend him. When someone has said, hey, I was wrong, or I apologize for this thing, or sorry, misunderstood this, or whatever, and you sit there and go, yeah, but you were also, unless you didn't know, you were wrong. No shit, Sherlock. What kind of statement is that? What are you doing? Oh, well, yeah, so many people are trying to downplay it and blah, blah, blah. And who cares? Is this man paying your bills? Is he taking your test at school for you? Is he clocking in at work for you? No. And this ain't no shade to Necros. I have zero problems with that man. I made a whole video saying, GG's, bro, you did what you said. You came back, you stood on business, even if, see, I don't have to agree with an individual. But I can respect when somebody says something and they stand on it. They don't just run and hide and tuck their tail. Now, do I agree with what he said about support players being boosted and all this other stuff? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think every role has its own thing, and that I honestly just believe he's just an extremely good player. He can make any game of this niche or whatever look easy. That's what separates the higher caliber players versus the mediums and the lower players. It's just what it is. It's how life is. I'm not LeBron James at basketball. I'm going to go out to a park and I'm going to shoot the ball around. I'm going to miss a bunch of them. I'm going to make some of them. LeBron sits there on a TV screen every night and gets paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to make it look easy. But then you get out there, boom. I remember there was a show called, just a side note, anybody remember that show called Regular Joes or something like that? It was on, I think it was like Spike TV or something like that. And it was like all these people that are just middle-aged men who sat around and talked about how if they made it to the NFL, the NBA, they could actually like do, just as well as these players. And they would go up against them. And they would do terrible. And they'd have to admit on live TV or national TV that, it was a lot of talking. Sounds good. That's what my dad used to say. Sounds real nice. And that's what it is. But like I said, though, a lot of you are so obsessed with what somebody else has to say. You sit back and you play the game every day, but then you wait on what a content creator or a streamer tells you is a tier list. And then you want to argue with them all day. Oh, well, why did you put Cloak and Dagger down here? Why Squirrel Girl not at the top or blah? Brother, if you play Squirrel Girl and you get eliminations and you win matches with her, who cares what someone else says about Squirrel Girl? You Squirrel Girl. If somebody tells you that, oh, well, this healer actually has the highest, healing output and blah, 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 blah. Do you play another healer and get more heals than people regularly who use that support player? Then use that one. And this all goes back to like Call of Duty and the best loadout videos and all of this stuff. And people saying, yo, I just saw this guy, he just said this, in this video that this SMG that nobody uses is the best thing. Sometimes it is true. Sometimes there's a secret buff to some stuff. And it does become the best thing. And in higher tier lobbies, you do have to start using the best loadouts. Simply because if everybody is using the best loadout, because people have figured out that this is the thing that eliminates people faster than other stuff, you're just going to get dumpstered on. That's just a fact. But when you're playing stuff casually, you can do whatever you want to. And this is the same people that sit back and complain in quick play matches. Brother, it's quick play. And that brings me to another thing. Outside of this game, no one cares. I didn't go get a loan to get a mortgage for my home, and the bank go, hey man, what's your win record or win-loss record looking like in Marvel Rivals? They didn't care about that. When I met my wife, she wasn't asking me what my KD was in Call of Duty. She didn't care. or really any woman prior to that. My kids don't rank how good of a father I am based off of how toxic I am to people in the game. They don't care. And the point I'm making by that is that this is isolated to this. Do not make the internet your whole entire life, gaming your whole entire life. I had a guy come into my comment section, this is months ago. I made a video about EOMM, talking about how, I just felt like this was really a real thing. I felt like we were going through the Call of Duty skill-based matchmaking argument all over again. I had seen the same exact thing. I noticed all the same signs, and there was something else going on with the matchmaking. Not that the game was unplayable or anything, but to deny it was just very weird. Guy comes into the comment section. I don't know if a lot of you know, but when you leave a comment on anybody's page, it could be 3 years ago, it could be 3 days ago, 3 minutes ago. When you leave a comment and the person clicks on your name, when they're looking, the creator, they can see every comment that you've ever left, ever. It could have been 10 years ago. They'll still be able to see that comment as long as you're using the same profile. Okay. This guy comes in here and I see that like the last 4 comments, all within a few minutes, are from him. So I click on his name out of curiosity to see who he is, what's going on, what the record is here. The guy must have left probably 22, 23 comments over the span of like 45 minutes. He was just frantically going through the comment section, rapidly responding to everybody, telling them that they were crazy, all this other stuff. EOMM wasn't a real thing, how he just wins every match and it's not a problem. He's got an 80% win-loss rate, just all this stuff, right? So out of curiosity, I go to his page. Now this guy uploaded content of his own. I go through a couple of his videos. I get his gamer tag. And out of curiosity, because I want to see who the most go-to player of all time is. I got to see this guy, right? Like, hey, let me see what you're doing. Let me learn. So I put his name into the Marvel Rivals tracker, and lo and behold, this guy had went on like a 10-loss streak in a row, just that day. About 2 hours before he went through the comment section, this man lost more matches than I have lost combined in days. And I think he had this guy had like 14 games. He had like 10 losses and like 4 wins. I can't remember exactly what it was. I talked about this back when it happened in another video. I have to go back through it. I just remember that it was so many losses that it just left me completely speechless. To the point where I'm thinking to myself, what would make you know that you just experienced all those losses. You know you were the one that it happened to. You know. Okay? Then you decided, let me go to a video talking about this same exact thing that just happened to me. And let me deny it. Let me deny it like my life depends on it. And then insult other people that are agreeing that it might actually be a real thing. Sometimes I just don't understand people, especially this community. And this is coming from somebody who started their content creation career through Call of Duty. I thought that was a toxic community. This is a community that does nothing but complain. I'm referring to the Call of Duty community. That community does nothing but complain. They expect that the developers are going to listen to them and not take away things that they've literally added and called them quality of life improvements. That means they're things that are supposed to make your life better that people wanted, because they don't just do this stuff out of the kindness of their heart. They only do it after months and months and months of people's begging. And then as soon as a new game comes out, they take away all that stuff. They revert all the things that people wanted that made them happy. And every year people expect that something different is going to happen. That community does nothing but talk. There are whole entire channels that are dedicated to putting down Call of Duty. Whole entire channels. I'm not calling out any creators, but I'm pretty sure if anybody's ever been in that scene, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Their whole entire identity is based around putting that game down and doing nothing but talking badly about it. And I still feel like this community rivals that one in negativity. Simply because I have just never seen a community so at odds with each other. So toxic toward one another. Almost like they take pride in it. A smugness about it. Just, GG no heels. To the point my brother hit me up the other day and said, hey man, I want to make some shirts for some merch for your page, your channel. And that's what he was talking about. He wanted to do like the Street Fighter thing. You guys remember old Street Fighter video games? I don't know if they still do it or not. I haven't played Street Fighter in a while. But you remember how they used to be laid out at the end? And you see like their opponent standing over top of them? Like, yeah, you couldn't beat me on your best day. Yeah, we were going to do that, but with healers and like an Iron Fist or something. And then on the back having, the chat where your team is just like, yeah, GG, no hills, man. Guys, it's a team-based game. Moral of the story, because we're coming up on 30 minutes here, work together. Stop putting your teammates down. Nobody finds that appealing. You are never going to meet a woman in your life who's going to be like, yo, I'm just so into you because you're just so toxic in Marvel Rivals. Like it really just does something for me. And I don't know what to do. You're not going to ever find any legitimate friends that way. Nobody, you're not going to get some career path off of just being negative. I mean, maybe there's something out there that just rewards that, but I highly doubt it. The majority of places are not going to want that in their environment. People are not going to want to be around you. Nothing good is going to come from you all behaving this way. Just cut it out. Like, stop. You do realize you're in control of your own actions, right? You could just stop. Because what's going to happen is that the game will die out. It'll become another Overwatch. And I know some of you want to sit here and say, oh, Overwatch is doing great, buddy. No, it's not. Okay? I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not. People are not checking for Overwatch. They haven't been checking for Overwatch for a long time. Even Overwatch admits ain't nobody checking for it. It's just as simple as that. And this game is right on its way to becoming that. Now, do I feel like some of the onus is on the devs because they could be doing a little bit more in a live service game? Yeah, but nowhere near as much as it is the community. It starts with you. As cheesy as that sounds, it starts with you. Maybe take a second and say, hey, did some of the stuff in this video that he was saying, did it hit a little close to home? And if it did, if you even remotely have to think about it, that means you're wrong. And if you're wrong, no one is going to judge you after the fact if you just stop. Maybe try to be considerate of your teammates. If your healers are getting dived like crazy by Black Panther, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, I don't know, maybe just turn around and help them. It's a double-edged sword. It works out for you. You get eliminations and your healers can continue to heal you. Don't you always find it funny that the enemy team is doing that? If you try to dive the enemy team, they all turn around and just help. And guess what? Ooh, crazy concept. It works. If you're spending the whole game arguing in the chat with your own teammates and the enemy team is not, that is why you are losing. But like I said, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark. That was my little crash out for the day. There's a bunch more that I could have said, but I just honestly don't feel like talking about it anymore. I'd like to, my next video, do something where, usually after these crash out videos, I usually try to make a video where I actually like encourage people and show them through my actual like actions how to do particular things or how to not be a particular way. But while I got you here, if you made it to this far in the video, really appreciate you. But what I do want to say is that to avoid a lot of this toxicity and a lot of the randoms and stuff, just because of how this community is, you can avoid a lot of that by joining my Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, we have a bunch of people in there that are constantly looking for people to play with, and we have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to negativity, hatefulness, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's accepted there. I don't care what you got going on, what you're into, what you like, whatever. There's somebody in there that you can talk to and relate to. And like I said, if anybody gives you a hard time, boom, bing, there's a door right there, right? We don't play that. We got good mods in there. We got people on every type of platform, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, PC. They start making it available on toasters. We'll have a group for that too, an LFG. And like I said, even if you're not looking for people to play with, let's say you just want to talk with other like-minded people and have fellowship with people that enjoy the same things as you, we got it in there. There's the general chat. I regularly play with people that are in my Discord. I regularly go in there, and if we mesh enough and we're actually on the same platform and around the same rank, might even mess around and be able to grind some rank out and stuff as well. But I would definitely recommend joining the Discord because, like I said, it's a Discord where we actually monitor what's going on in there. We actually pay attention. I'm not one of those people who say, join my Discord. You never see me in there. No, you see me in there all the time. Usually every morning, usually in the evenings and stuff like that. I'm in there. We have good conversations. Sometimes we hold stages and we just talk. You can have easier access when you have questions about things or you just want to talk or vent or whatever. That's what it's there for. So click the link in my bio. If you go to my actual channel page, you look next to my logo, you'll see where it says more information. Click on that, join the Discord if you would like to not have to keep playing with randoms and keep hearing GG no heals in the chat or DPS is trash or whatever it is that people are saying that's just giving you a rough time, all that kind of stuff. So, but like I said though, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up and I appreciate you all for listening, but this is Father Dark and I'm out. I'll catch you on the next one.